The Stampede used to be about the middle of June. But during school, the first day before the Stampede was always a sports day. And all the schools would come in. They'd load us up in a truck and we'd all come in and compete. That was our first really happy memories of this area, of being involved, because the Stampede followed it.
For as long as he can remember, the Williams Lake Stampede was an exciting time of year for retired rodeo announcer, competitor, and clown William Crosina. Now at 91 years old, it was over 60 years ago when this rodeo lover got his first taste of the Williams Lake Stampede.
When I was quite young, my dad used to work at the rodeo here, and of course all the families came because that was the big deal, you see. Like in 1947, I got on my first and last bareback horse in competition. Bareback wasn't really an event in those days. It was just something, they did it as something extra. And you rode with just a loose rope pulled through a ring and you hung on. And when I eventually, I did make the ride, but the pickup man had gone for a break. And there was a native with only one eye, was kind of hazy. He came to try and pick me up, and he ran over, knocked the horse down, and I sprained my wrist, and I'm walking back to the chute, and the judge says, "And you missed him out." I said, "That's not all. I just quit riding bareback horses."
But growing up in the Cariboo, nothing about the Stampede surprised him. After all, that wasn't his first rodeo. But even after all those years, Willie knew that competing wasn't his thing.
Somebody wouldn't show up to ride a steer or a cow or whatever it was. And my dad would say, "Oh, Willie will ride it." Well, I didn't get far. I can tell you they were pretty big, and I wasn't very big. I got thrown, and I wasn't a real happy camper.
That's when Willie knew he had to find a different way, because there was just no way he could stay away from all the excitement.
We started putting on these little jackpot rodeos, and there's always dead spots, something happens. So I decided to dress up.
At 40 years of age, Willie Crosina started his rodeo clown and bullfighting career.
I've always been kind of a goof anyway. I mean, I've gone to things dressed as a woman, as a matter of fact. And in those days, it was just, they rode cows. And I've been around stock all my life, so I know what to do, and I can play with them. And then when they got bulls, I still was doing it. And I tried to quit and get somebody else, and some of the cowboys said, "No, we don't want those young fellas in there. They'll get us killed. You've got to stay with us."
And just like that, Willie and his sidekick Mule became one of the most fun-loving rodeo clowns in the Cariboo.
I would bet the cowboys that they couldn't ride him. Well, he's not very big. So when they'd step on, he'd just kick and duck his head, and I'd win every bet.
Today, Willie is still involved with the Stampede and says he'll continue lending a hand some way, somehow.
I do a little bit of everything. I don't do as much now. I do more organizing, but I work with the sponsorship. But I will be, if I'm not a director, and I'd like to see some younger people step up that are interested, but I will certainly be a volunteer as long as I can.